Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Barnstable Board of Health. I declare this an open meeting. Roll call, please.
Yes, John Norman,
Here.
Dr. Guadagnoli,
Here.
Dr. Canna,
Yeah.
and Dr. Lesko, I see, is not here, and Tom Lee, Dr. Weiler. Okay. All right, so we do have a quorum.
Having quorum, I would ask Dr. Weiler to sit in on today's meetings as a fourth voting member. And the first, I have to read, this meeting of the Board of Health is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20, the chair must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, please make your presence known. Is anyone else recording this meeting? Seeing none, we move on to the first item of the day. First item on the agenda, this is a septic variance. Michael Kenny, representing Charles Tuttle, owner of 8 Wilton Drive, Centerville, map parcel 208-056, a .29 acre parcel, requesting a septic setback variance of 12 feet from foundation to leach pit to allow for the setback of 8 feet in lieu of 20 feet setback, moved from our February and April meetings to tonight, this afternoon. Is anyone here representing?
I'm here and Chuck is here as well.
Okay, come forward. You can either sit or stand, whatever your preference is. Just make sure the little green light is lit.
Okay.
And
Yes, it is.
give us the rationale for the,
On the mic, it's not on.
Yes, Chuck wants to,
His mic's not on.
they're saying your mic's not on. Just, it's got to be like bright green. There's like a button at the bottom. Push.
oh, there it is.
Thank you so much.
Is that good?
Yep, thank you.
Great. Yeah, so Chuck wants to convert a bedroom to his master bedroom, also putting in a bath and walk-in closet. Acknowledge that there's a discussion about the possibility of the area being utilized for a bedroom purpose. It was proposed that Chuck sign a deed restriction to 3 bedrooms, which he's agreed to do. And that's where we stand.
Okay, thank you for that. This is a public hearing. If there's any members of the public that would like to speak on this item, please come forward. State your name for the record.
I'd like to make a couple comments.
Sure.
My name's Chuck Tuttle. I'm the owner here. This is my house. And I'm just trying to add a bedroom, remove a bedroom, add a bedroom. So net bedrooms is same, 3 bedrooms. And we need to, evidently, the corner of the proposed new foundation is within whatever setback you guys want, 12 feet. It's 8 feet away.
20 feet. This Title V requires 20 feet. Thank you. It's not,
Right.
it's not the
Thank
Board of Health. It's a state code.
Appreciate it. So in any event, we'd like to build this addition. We've got sewer coming up Main Street in a couple years. We're top of the hit parade. So that septic system will be gone in a couple years. And really appreciate you giving us the variance to go ahead and do this. And there's been some talk about signing a deed restriction because the closet is big. And honestly, if you look at the plan that's been shared, the space in question is 4 feet 6 inches by 7 feet 7 inches, which is really small. And I honestly don't see how that could be used as a bedroom, number one. Number two, I've been in dozens. I work in real estate and have for a couple decades here in the town. I've been in dozens of homes in the town of Barnstable with closets that are much larger, with bigger windows and bigger doors, that are existing with no drama whatsoever.
Not to cut you off, but what's before us is a variance request for setback distances, not bedroom count, so it's really kind of irrelevant to what's before us.
Okay, great. So why do we need a deed restriction?
I didn't ask that. We didn't ask, the board didn't ask that.
So
He offered it.
it was discussed as an alternative.
Well,
you know, which
when
would-
we're done with you doing your presentation, we'll ask the public to speak, and then staff will give their report, and that might be something that they have to bring to our attention, but what's before us that we were asked to rule on was setback distances.
Right.
And that's it.
Right.
So bedroom counts is really irrelevant to us because it's not on here, so we can't really discuss it because it's, has to be posted as an agenda item for
Right.
the public to know what's being discussed.
Right.
And so we're kind of going out of that. So just keep your comments relevant to the
Okay.
distances.
Thank you. So evidently, I understand that the proposed new foundation would be treated in some way. There's a layer or some component that goes around the new foundation to make sure that it doesn't interfere with the leaching pit. Is that correct? Some kind of layer?
Yeah, well, there would be a covering put on the new foundation to ensure that there couldn't be the possibility of any leaching through.
Which is standard operating procedure, I guess, in situations like this. So thank you for your consideration.
Okay, thank you for that. This is a public hearing. If there's any members of the public that would like to speak on this item, please come forward. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Staff report?
Staff has no objection to this variance. I think the variance can be granted. It was just a matter of the building permit being approved for the number of bedrooms that are sized to the septic system. That's the issue he was referring to with the bedroom count.
Yeah, okay, that's not what's before us.
And
so-
if you look at the floor plan, it looks like the room was larger than, it met the definition of bedroom. I don't know if that's still the proposal today, but it says on the plan, this is no longer a bedroom. But it's the same, it says bedroom above it crossed out, and it's the same size as a bedroom. If I'm looking at the same plan you are.
Yeah, I just, like, if that's something the staff, when they come in for the permit, have a problem with,
Right.
then it can come up
That would
then,
be-
but what's before us was just a variance setback for distances.
Yeah, it
No-
looks
No
like-
bedroom counts or bedroom determination, so unfortunately, we can't
Yeah.
rule on it or really add it into the
system-
discussions here.
The system is only designed for, if it is designed, it's showing cesspools on your plan, but if it's cesspools, that's problematic. If it's a septic system, it looks like the size of that leach pit would be designed for 3 bedrooms.
The, excuse me, the den, so,
Hold on a second, it's not a back and forth, so hold on.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
The plan is marked CP as in it's cesspools. That's problematic in itself. I don't know if that's true, if that's what's actually in the ground, because this is all we have with this filing. But if it's a leaching pit, standard leaching pit would be a 3-bedroom leach pit off that corner of the foundation. Would be designed for 3 bedrooms.
Okay, again, that's not what's before us, so.
Right.
Had that been included in the variance request, then we would address it, but that's not what's before us.
Yeah, that's
So
correct. They
we're,
didn't
we're going to discuss a variance for setback distances, and that's it,
Yes,
okay?
yes.
Thank you.
But I think what happened at the beginning, now this has been on the agenda 2 or 3 times. I think at the beginning, the bedroom that where it writes this is no longer a bedroom because the opening is, wide enough to make it not a bedroom, but at the beginning it was. So that's what I think, as I remember. But anyhow,
Okay,
like the gentleman said, the sewer is,
Yes.
I thought it was coming there pretty soon this year,
Okay.
but I guess I'm wrong.
members of the board, any comments or questions? So they will just probably ensure that that corner of the addition, there's different ways to seal a foundation. We see that you've put in the poly mill liner between. They'll probably, have you do a mastic, which is that spray-on waterproof. There's watertight and there's waterproof. So they'll probably ask you to just put that mastic in there, but that's, pretty standard in sealing foundations, so. Yeah, I'm fine with any of these. If anyone has any comments or questions, otherwise I'd entertain a motion. Oh,
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion to approve in a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's
Can
unanimous.
I
Thank you
make
so
a
much.
comment? I'd like to thank Mr. Tuttle for all his work for the town with the wind farm.
Thank you, sir.
You're very much appreciated. Thank you.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, Tris Weller representing Daniel Griffin, owner of 10 Wianno Ave, Osterville, Mass. Map parcel 117-091. 3,495 square foot parcel, multiple variances requested. Welcome, Mr. Weller.
Tris Weller representing Mr. Griffin. Got a small building in Osterville Village that he needs to upgrade the septic system. Right now, it's assuming there's a cesspool out there. No one's been able to find it or any record in town of what it is. But we designed a new Title V system to go in, along with a grease trap. He's got a prospective tenant, wants to do coffee takeout and sandwiches and that sort of thing in there, all prepackaged foods, no food preparation on site. But we've got a small lot. The lot's only 3,500 square feet. We've got one parking area that we can use to put in a septic system, so we need multiple variances for setbacks. The tank and the grease trap are 3 feet and 6 feet off the building. The leaching facility is 5 feet off the property lines and 6 feet off the building. If you've got any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you for that. This is a public hearing. If there's any members of the public that would like to speak on this item, please come forward. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Staff report?
Good afternoon. Is this in a nitrogen-sensitive area?
No, it's just out of it.
Oh, it is. It's not in any saltwater estuary zone or anything like that?
I'm not sure the saltwater estuary. I know it's not in the WP or a GP.
You're not sure? That's problematic. We need to look that up.
You know, that's what we rely on for.
You don't look to see if it's in a nitrogen-sensitive area?
I did, and I noticed that those other two were, be honest with you, I forgot about the saltwater estuary because that hadn't come up in quite a while.
Yeah. So is that how many seats were in this restaurant before?
No seats.
That's the concern. I just want to make sure we're not approving something that's not allowable in the nitrogen-sensitive area.
Okay.
So
Is
we need to
the,
look that up.
is the timeframe on this tight? Because, I mean,
I believe.
if staff's not
Yeah.
comfortable moving forward until we get this determination made, we can continue to our next meeting.
Are you looking it up?
Sure, go
This,
ahead.
Dan Griffin.
Yeah. Specifically, this is Pan d'Avignon, who already exists. These are prepared foods over in Hyannis at their other location. So they'd be bringing this over there. The primary focus was the coffee. The seats have not existed in this location before that we're aware of historically. I do know what's in the ground. We've had somebody go in there. There are two, the way it was described to me, there's two cesspools in there, side by side. They drain into each other. So it's an upgrade of the septic system itself. And in addition, the grease trap was required by the town, even though the prepared foods are happening somewhere else. It was whatever the definition was.
Right.
So that was the reason for the grease trap.
And kind of similar to our last, this, what's before us is
Sure,
the variance
what's there.
that were
Right.
denoted, and that's
Right.
basically just distance setbacks and things
Yeah.
like that. So even if we give approval on the board level
Yes.
to the setbacks, you
Yes.
may run into problems at permitting if it is
Understood.
in the saltwater estuary, and they may have you have to come back to us with a list of variances. But what's before us is the distances.
Sure.
And that's,
Yeah.
what we're,
Yeah.
prepared.
The answer to your
and-
question is timeline is always of the essence in a real
Right.
estate deal.
Which is fine,
So,
because
yeah.
there's no guarantee that if we approve
Sure.
your setbacks, that you might
Understood.
not go in for your permit, and then the saltwater estuary or whatever comes up and delays you, and you have to come back to us for another variance if need be, but.
I'd love to have that be my risk.
Sure,
That we get
okay,
approved
that's
here,
fine.
and then
Just
we
what's
deal with that.
Like I said, what's before us is just
Appreciate
setback
that.
distances.
Appreciate the
and that's what-
clarification.
That's what we're gonna.
Fully
move on.
understood. Thank you.
Sure, thank you so much. Any other comments, Tom, staff?
No.
Okay. Board members?
Motion to approve.
I just had a quick question. I'd like to see, either the two tanks it's all going to be open up and excavated there.
Sure.
If you could drape a poly curtain.
Absolutely.
Just it's that extra layer of
Yep.
kind of diversion, because it is real
Real
tight
tight. Sure.
with that corner. That would be the only note. I'd say, you know, if you
Okay.
can just add a liner in there,
Absolutely.
the hole's going to be open anyways, you know what I
Yes.
mean, to that depth.
Yep.
And that can be submitted at time of installation, so.
Great.
Permitting, rather.
Can you give us 3 minutes? We're looking on the computer now.
Does it have something to do with the setback distances or the
Well,
water,
if you-
the
it has-
saltwater estuary question? Because that's not what's before us, so it really is irrelevant.
If you approve this plan for 12 seats, that's the
That's not
concern.
what's before us. We're approving the variance setbacks. If he comes in for a permit and your calculations on your end don't work, then you can deny it. The variance items that are before us all have to do with setback distances, has nothing to do with the
Okay.
saltwater estuary. So we're not granting it. The plan,
All right.
as it's written, we're granting the variances that were requested. I have a motion to approve. Can I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor? All those opposed? I've one in favor. Did you say in favor or opposed?
I'm in favor as long as he's gonna,
Yeah, it could get stopped at him. It's just, if a variance to the water estuary, saltwater estuary was on this agenda, then we could discuss it, but it wasn't, so it's not really for our discussion. Thank you so much. Thank you. Good luck. Next item on the agenda, secondary treatment unit, Joseph Henderson, Horsley Witten Group, representing James Wheeler, owner of 239 Old Jail Lane, Barnstable, map parcel 278-053, a 2.89 acre parcel requesting use of a Nitro E wastewater treatment system on the property. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, it's Weiler, by the way.
Sorry about that.
Joe Henderson with Jim Weiler here. We're here for 239 Old Jail Lane, as you mentioned. Just asking to install a nitro treatment system at the property. Currently, they have just a conventional septic D-box leaching pits, and like to upgrade that system to the nitro. There are no requested variances or environmental or property line. And again, the system is functioning fine. It's just, I'd like to improve his water quality there. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Great, thank you for that.
Yep.
This is a public hearing. If there's any members of the public that would like to speak on this item, please come forward. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Town staff?
Staff has no objections.
Thank you for that. Members of the board, any comments or questions?
no, I think it's wonderful.
And I can't conceive of a circumstance where we would not approve it.
Right.
So why do we make them come
It's a
here?
state, it's part of the state permitting process that you have to get local approval for systems that are not,
We can't do a blanket, okay.
Yeah, it's a provisional use.
it's
approval.
provisional use. It's not, they have to get to a certain amount of units in the ground, and then they'll issue a general
Then we'll be
permit.
able to do it
Then
without everybody
the
having it. Okay.
the staff will be able to approve these.
Motion to approve?
I have a motion. Second, Dr. Waller. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's unanimous. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for your time.
Great, thank you.
The next item on the agenda, this is a septic variance from the saltwater estuary. Rena Priva of Renata Beauty, excuse me if I've butchered that, and Wellness, and Jordan Carroll, owner of commercial property, 839 Main Street, Osterville, map parcel 117-103, spoke to the Mass DEP and instructed to request variance from local board from water usage calculations used in Title V. The septic was installed prior to saltwater estuary protection zone created, and thus was higher water use calculation for total tenant spaces. Mass DEP water usage, table groups, nail salons, and hair salons. Renata Beauty and Wellness is requesting to consider their nail salon actual water uses in the determination of that. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Mr. Norman, my name is Gerald Garnick. My office is in Hyannis.
Is that green light on?
Ooh,
bright?
yes, it is.
Okay, thank you
It
so
is.
much.
Can you hear me?
Yes, that's
Okay.
better, thank you.
So, first of all, I have to correct the notification. This is not a nail salon, and it's never been a nail salon. So I don't know if that makes any difference with this board, but it's vitally important because you can't do your calculations on a nail salon because this is not a nail salon. I have here, okay, and there's no, and no nails being, no no fixing of nails or attending to nails are being done at Renata's in Osterville. I have here, if I may, Mr. Norman?
Yep.
I have here the brochure showing all their services.
Great, thank you.
Okay? And on the
And those reflect the letters that was part of your
That's
package.
exactly what
Yeah,
it
so
reflects.
we have
That
that,
is-
but thank you so much.
Okay, that exactly reflects it. So I just want to make sure that there's no, everyone understands there's no nails, okay? In addition to that, I have here for you just to look at, this is the present location and how it's set up at this present time.
I could get some of this.
I have with me today Renata Priva and Josie Priva. They are the principals of it. They hold licenses that are necessary in order to run this wellness center. And they've been in business since 2019. In 2000, and Renata has been in business for 20 years with her wellness and beauty operation. I hate to use the word salon because it genders a belief that somehow there's going to be a lot of water used on this premises, and that's not the situation that you have before you. My clients have been solely educated. Renata spent 1 year getting her license and getting her state license, and Josie spent 8 months getting their licenses, and they've been so duly licensed from the state for over 15 years. Renata has become a very successful business in the Osterville area, and she has concentrated her entire business on wellness and on beauty. And those procedures that are used do not use any excessive water at all. And they don't use any more than any of the retail spaces at the gallery. She's at the gallery in Osterville, as you know, that was the old movie theater for all of us who've been around here for a long time. So the new space that they're looking to move into is practically next to their old space. They are presently at 847 Main Street, Osterville, and they want to move into 843. In March of 2021, they entered into a contract with the landlord, and you have letters from the landlord, am I very correct? They entered into a contract with the landlord to move into 843. And they even commenced construction back in 2021, believing they could go forward without any necessary licenses or permission. They subsequently found out that that was incorrect, and they stopped immediately. So since 2021 to present, we have been dealing with this situation in order to get a hearing before you to ask that they be allowed to move in there based upon the fact that their water usage is not going to be any greater than a retail space. Now, the space itself it's important to understand, and I've made additional copies, if I may. Which has been part of this, which was part of the 1, 2, 3, 4. You have these.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have these in our package.
So if you take a look at these plans, what you will see is they have the exact same number of spaces that they have in the present location. So the reason for the change is a number of reasons. Number one, they're in Osterville, and they need to brand themselves at a higher level. So they need to have nicer environment. Number two, as you will see on the left-hand side, there is a skin care room and there is a massage room, okay? And you'll see that there's 2 chairs. What that allows is they allow the people who are dressed appropriately to sit in those areas and wait for them to be worked upon, rather than sitting in what's called the private waiting area room, which, by the way, is not private. That is going to be, it was mislabeled. That's the general waiting room area. So in their present location, what they have is people who are ready to get a massage, maybe in a robe, and they have to wait in the public waiting area, and they don't have a special area to wait for them to be called in to have a massage or to have the necessary skin care. So that's one of the reasons. It also gives them room for closet space. You'll see one of the pictures there. You'll see one of the pictures at the exit. All their equipment are right at the exit, and they would like very much to have that removed, because there's no reason for patrons in this environment to see what they have for equipment and so forth. So this allows them to have that, and the space is going to be upgraded. They're going to have a bigger reception area, as you can see on the right-hand side, and they're going to have a retail area where they'll be able to sell many of their products and so forth. So it's both a matter of convenience, it's a matter of upgrading, it's a matter of branding, and it's a matter of more convenience for their customers. Now, in my letter, I gave you what I call the snapshot of the business. And it's important for you to understand that there is, number one, no nails being conducted, no attending to nails being attended at this operation, none whatsoever. Also, I'd like to point out that they're not a salon. There's no word salon in their title. It's a beauty and wellness, and that's different from a salon that you have the concept of. So with regard to the snapshot look, Renata's offers waxing services, massages, lashes, and skin care. For the waxing services, they utilize 100% disposable supplies, biodegradable wax, and oil-based lotion to remove wax residue from the skin. No water is utilized. And that's been their situation ever since they've been operating Renata's, and even prior to that, when she was operating her own smaller venue. For massages, they utilize body lotion, which is absorbed in the skin, and you'll know that if you've ever had a massage, therefore not requiring rinsing or removal. Again, no water is utilized. For lashes, we supply synthetic lash extensions and ophthalmological recommended glue, and again, no water is used. For skin care, okay, as facial, we use no more than 8 ounces of bottled distilled water. They don't use tap water per service, which is used to wet gauze pads, cotton balls to remove skin care products from the customer's face. When the product is all done, there's no water left to dispose of. There's just some gauzes and everything to be disposed of. There was, as I understand, some inquiry to my clients concerning the hydrofacial, which they have in their building. The hydrofacial uses, again, 8 ounces of distilled water, and they use wet sponges, and they end up with no water to be disposed of. So now we come to the issue of water usage. Okay? You have had, and I know there's been a lot of communication with my clients and with your board. You've had this history listing. You have all this? You have this copy? Okay. On this listing history, this shows that the water usage that has been for the 16 units. There are 16 units in the gallery and this is the total usage of the 16 units in the gallery. And that shows that at first you'll see there's one of 98,000. And that usage was done as a result of a leak that my clients were not there at the time. And then the usage goes from 12,000 to 35,000 to 22,000. and that's for the yearly usage for 16 units. And they don't use any more, they do not use any more water than a retail space. Now, one of the things that was asked of my clients was to go and find, so just in summary, if they take the highest usage of this property for the last 6 months, which was 50,000 gallons, for a period, the average out is 277 gallons per day, averaging out 17 gallons per unit per day. And even if you multiply that by 2, it's certainly within the water usage that is allowed by the town. And you'll see, even with that low water usage, all the different businesses that are in that gallery that uses this one particular septic system. You have a hair salon, which is, by the way, they call themselves a salon. You have a natural beauty spa, which is a one-person operation. You have a healing by the sea massage, and you have landscapers, and you have some, as you can see, some office space and some buildings. Now, one of the things my client did is they went out to try and find a business that was comparable to them. That is a business that doesn't do nails and just does the same type of work and performs the same type of services on their clients, the same as Renata's. And they found Lash Boutique. And Lash Boutique, and I believe you have their comparisons, Lash Boutique had, at the end of last year, averaged 437 cubic feet, which equals 3,269 gallons in 1 year. That's what this business uses every year, doing the same thing that Renata's is doing. Only 3,269 gallons in 1 year. If you divided that by 65 days, that's 9 gallons per day. If you multiply it by 2, pursuant to Title V, that becomes 18 gallons per day. And they provide the same services, facial, massage, waxing, and lashes, no nails. Now, prior to coming here, we received my clients received a letter from Mr. McKeon. Are you aware of that, Mr. Norman?
Which one?
The one that talks about the water usage.
Is there a letter, Tom, that you sent him?
I'm gonna provide my presentation after he's finished.
Okay.
I didn't send you a letter today.
Well,
Maybe Sharon sent you a copy out of courtesy of the water meter readings from Hyannis.
Right, she does.
That's
Okay.
not a letter.
Okay, so, well, it was a communication, sorry. So in that communication, it stated that the cubic feet is 741 gallons. They've calculated what we believe is incorrect. The amount of cubic feet is 7.481. That's the amount of water usage per square foot, per cubic foot. When you look at Lash Boutique, their cubic feet, you'll see the sign CF on the left, on the 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth line from the right, and it's cubic feet. You add up the last 4 cubic feet on there, and that's how we come up with the figure of 3,269. And that's how you calculate a cubic foot. Can I see
That document has the name of the person from the water department that made that calculation. It doesn't say my name on there, it says his name. Okay?
Yeah, I'm not blaming anybody at this. I'm just saying the communication we received.
1 unit equals 748.
Yeah, but that's incorrect. Because a cubic foot
Let him
is
finish his presentation.
a cubic foot is 7.418, and not, where is it? Just tell me where it is. Okay. 1 cubic foot equals 7.418 U.S. liquid. 7.418. So I don't know how the figure of 748 came in, but I would think it was a miscommunication. Because, stop and think about it. How could you have only 3,269 gallons in 1 year if you were calculating it by 748? If you're calculating by the figure 748 rather than 7.48, you'd have some 365,000 gallons of water. And that's not possible because these people have only been charged $15, $9, and $17 for their annual use. So I'm trying to inform you our position that when you do the calculations of the cubic feet, the calculations based upon 7.481 and not 748. And even when you go to the again, can you show it to me? Even when you go to the internet, it says, how do you calculate it? You calculate it by 7.48. And I'll give you another example. Where's the one that said the calculations? It says, how to calculate volume of water. How to calculate volume of water. Formula. Length times width times length times width times depth equals cubic feet. 3, cubic feet times 7.47 equals gallons. That's how you calculate it. It is not correct to point it by 748 because at that point, there would be no place that would be usable in the town of Barnstable or any place else in Massachusetts. So from that point of view, I just want to ask you to allow Renata's to move into their new space, to have them to be able to accommodate their clientele in a more gracious way, so that she brands herself as a high-class water and beauty business, and that she be allowed to move into the new space. The landlord is all in favor of it, and we're asking for the same permission that you've allowed other people to move into that space in the last couple of years.
Okay, thank you for that. This is a public hearing. If there's any members of the public that would like to speak on this item, please come forward. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Staff report?
I made some attachments for you to look at and made copies for the applicant. Sorry. That's for you.
Thanks, Paulene.
This has been going on for 3 years. The health inspector that's been trying to help the applicant 3 years ago and 2 years ago, has come to the conclusion that this septic system is not large enough and it will exceed the groundwater nitrogen sensitive area, the saltwater estuary district regulation. We also, to get a second opinion, Vice Chairman Tom Lee looked at all the numbers 2 years ago and came to the same conclusion. He's not here today, so I'll go through this quickly, but my recommendation is postpone it till next month so you can hear from Tom Lee and you can hear from the health inspector who is absent today. On attachment 1, if you go to the fourth to the last page, I'll go through this quickly, you'll see a sentence from the person the applicant hired that wrote, and I highlighted it, it appears to me that the building already exceeds its septic capacity. You see it highlighted in yellow? fourth to the last page of attachment 1.
Oh, fourth to the last page?
Yes.
What do you mean by attachment 1?
I wrote attachment 1 on the beginning of the attachment. On the top, I wrote attachment 1, fourth to the last page. Sharon, here's a copy for you. The person that this applicant hired wrote an email to Health Inspector Mary Beth McKenzie. It appears to me that this building already exceeds its septic capacity. And you'll see,
We don't see that at fourth to the last page.
here's another copy.
No, I've got the whole thing. Is that fourth to the last page of Exhibit 1?
Yes, yes.
Hold on. So
Just
the-
before the May 18th evaluation of all the uses in the building,
Oh, I see, May 18th. I'm with you.
the
Okay.
page before that is dated June 8th, 2021. It looks like this email here.
Oh, hello, Keith? It says, starts off with hello, Keith?
Says, "Hi, Mary Beth."
Oh.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, Harry May Beth. Okay, I've got it.
It appears to me that the building already exceeds its septic capacity. It's highlighted in yellow. Does yours have that?
Yeah. I have
Okay,
it. Yeah,
all right.
I have it. I do.
Attachment number 3 is today's information from Chris Glosson of the Hyannis Water Department. 1 unit equals 748. The calendar year 2023 at Lash Boutique used 36,652 gallons. If I divide that by 365 days, counting every holiday, every Sunday that they might, every day that they might be open, they might be closed, I just counted every day, it comes out to 100.4 gallons per day. I just want to let everybody know that Title V requires the applicant to take water meter readings and go to DEP for evaluation, because Title V already has beauty salon in as a category that they don't want to use that category because it's too high. This is an alternative way of finding out what the water metering, what the sewage flow would be by getting water meter readings. But they don't want to use Title V, so that's what we suggested, get water meter readings, and you have to double them by 200% according to Title V. But as I said earlier, I suggest postpone it because the uses in the building already exceed the septic system capacity and the saltwater estuary protection zone. If you look at attachment number 2 and look at just the site plan, it tells you the lot is 19,000 square feet, and it shows you the building. It takes up a large percentage of the property. The septic systems are crossing the property lines into other properties, you can see on the plan. And attached to that are all the permits that I've issued in the past and the septic as-built drawings. Many hours have been put into this by staff to review this, and they came to the same conclusion as Tom Lee, that the septic system is not large enough and it exceeds the nitrogen that's allowed in this nitrogen-sensitive area.
May I comment?
Is that it for staff?
That's all I have for now.
Thank you for that. Members of the board, comments or questions first, before?
This is ridiculous. I don't in any way, shape, or form get why it should take 3 years for somebody who's running a successful business to be able to move into a larger space.
It's been disapproved for 3 years.
No, it has not. It has not.
Okay,
first time
we're
I've
not
heard
doing a
about
back
it.
and forth.
Okay.
Staff, the board is discussing. The board is discussing.
But-
We're not going to have a back and forth. The board is discussing
he's
this. I'll give
misleading.
you an opportunity, but the board is discussing this right now, okay?
Yep, I
We're not going to have a back and forth, and we're not going to have
You make
people
your point.
jumping
I
into the
understand.
conversation. The board is discussing this now. I'd like to give members of the board, we gave you your time, we gave staff their time. Now, members of the board would like to have their say and ask questions, and then we'll go on. But we're not going to have a round trip of all three of us yelling at us.
Mr. Norman,
Thank
made
you
your-
so much.
You made your point.
Go ahead, Doctor. Sorry about that.
No, and we got the idea. I mean, to be honest, I think it's also sad that somebody had to hire an attorney to come and give a 20-minute discussion of moving a business from one place to another. Now, what this email also said is, the landlord has indicated that they will reluctantly upgrade the septic, but they need to be pushed to the decision. Fine, let's push the landlord to the decision and tell the landlord they have to upgrade the septic. But this is two different things. I mean, they're taking an existing business that is not washing hair, that's not going through large volumes of water. I mean, massage is probably the only thing that I've had of what the services are. I stick with my own eyelashes. But I can't imagine any of them use a whole lot of water. And it's not going to be substantially different anyway. They're in a space, they're trying to move to a nicer space in the same location. And for that to have been delayed for 3 years makes zero sense to me. I mean, it just, and if it's the landlord who needs to be pushed to upgrade the septic, then I think we need to push the landlord to upgrade the septic. If the septic isn't adequate, it isn't adequate, and we do have laws around that, and it does have to be adequate. But it almost seems like we're holding a business hostage to this that they have no control over. I mean, they're not going to upgrade the septic. All they're trying to do is help us understand that they're not using a whole lot of water. And we shouldn't be in the business of trying to make it difficult to be in business in the town of Barnstable.
No, I agree.
Dr. Caniff?
But we are in the business, I think, of having to enforce the laws as they stand. So I think, I mean, even in this brochure that, attachment 1, that came from Cape Architecture, on one of these pages here, it says sewer assessment. The building is served by a town sewer located in Main Street. So, I mean, this is crazy. So, I think Mr. McKean's recommendation of come back again and hear what Mr. Lee has to say, and then and just make sure that it goes according to the law, not according to figures that are presented. That's my opinion.
You know, this goes similar to me where it's like you have an existing business which is generating a certain amount of gallons, and they're just moving into a different portion of this strip mall. So the load on the septic system stays the same. I mean, they're not expanding from this design. I'm only seeing 2 bathrooms. I don't see, you know, washrooms. I don't see hair chairs. I don't see hair wash stations. I just see 2 bathrooms. So the volume, to me, is pretty marginal for this particular business. Now, whether all 16 or 17 units that are in this facility exceeds what's allowable for the septic system that's on there, I think, for me, that's a separate discussion, that's between the Board of the Health Department and the landlord to say, you have to bring your building up to compliance, because when you add up all of these businesses, you exceed what's allowable in that area. Now, the town departments don't go out and just find problems. They wait until someone asks to do something. Well, we want to upgrade, or we want to do this. All this business is looking to do is to move from one facility with a certain amount of square footage to another facility within the same building with a little more square footage, but not changing their business model, not changing what they do. And it's just, again, 2 bathrooms. I don't see how this is going to negatively impact the septic that's there. So, and I know that there's pigeonholed descriptions of like, well, this business fits within this, and this is the calculation that the state has assigned to that type of business, and this is what you have to comply with. And to me, reading the application, I mean, that's what's before us, is that are we able to better understand the exact use of this business and what it is impacting the septic with, and is that allowable based on what the gallonage is of their uses of that particular unit. And that's one of the couple of questions I had, is are these individual units metered separately, or is this one big building metered?
Actually, there's two septic systems.
I know the septic
yeah,
system, I'm
yeah.
talking about the water supply.
No, they're all metered together.
It's all, so
Yeah,
one
it's-
single meter
right.
runs, so it's the
Right.
water usage, which I'm sure when Tom Lee did the calculations based on the size of the septic system and the overall building, it probably does exceed it, which would be a separate issue than what's before us, because if the landlord comes in and says, we want a building permit, we need septic, Board of Health to sign off on, they may say, well, your whole building is not within compliance, you need to upgrade your septic system. But what's before us is, could this business move from here to there and be allowable to use a calculation based on what's actually flowing, rather than what the entire building is flowing?
And only DEP can grant that approval, alternative flow.
Right, but so can local, by using what's on. Correct?
DEP has sent, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Any
there was
other
a
questions for the board,
miscommunication.
from board members? Any other comments or questions? Yeah, okay. Any things you want to respond to?
Sure, this was sent to DEP. It was sent back to this board. And secondly, I just want to clarify one thing. This took a lot of time for a lot of different reasons. And one of the reasons was because the town insisted in branding this as a salon. That's what they did. We tried to explain to them that we're not a salon. It wasn't until recently that we're dealing with, who was the one we were dealing with? That they understood and came to understand that, who, yeah. Ms. Soto. So she came to understand what our situation was. Okay, so she became, she was listening to us. So, but this is not a salon. We are using.
No, I think everybody on the board understands that.
Just one other thing.
Sure.
We have four rooms in the old building, 4 rooms in the new building. We're not increasing anything.
Yeah, no, it's just a different layout with, like you said, an entryway and a little bit of privacy for someone waiting to get the massages. I get all that. And again, I look at the plan and I see 2 bathrooms. So for me, what is generating? 2 bathrooms. I don't look at this as a salon. I don't look at it as a hair care. I don't look at it as a nail care. I saw the package, and that's how I interpret it, as being a low water usage thing. Now, again, what's before us is that we allow the calculation to be based on what's actually being there, and so we're going to allow the change of designation from being under an all-umbrellaed salon to a more what's actually being used. That doesn't necessarily mean that when the building owner goes to the health department and the building department to pull permits, they might say, that might trigger, what's going to happen is the calculations of this whole building is not in compliance with the amount of gallonage and the amount of square footage for all the multiple businesses in there and the size of the septic. But that's going to be a landlord issue, not your issue.
Yes.
That's how I see it.
Okay.
But any other comments or questions?
I don't think we should make a problem for the health department, though, out of this.
No, I don't think it will be. I think it'll make a permit application be reviewed to say, you want to remodel the store, you need a building permit. In order to have a building permit, you have to bring your entire building, all 16 units or 17 units, I forget, into compliance with the calculation. Because as Tom Lee's calculation showed, that from an engineering point, that it probably doesn't meet it, but that's not what's before us. Is local, they sent it to DEP, DEP sent it back and said, well, as long as the local Board of Health looks at it and doesn't declare it a salon, you can use the lower calculations. That's what I'm seeing it as. So, anyone
Want to word it?
anyone want to,
What's it?
did you want to say something?
No.
Oh, okay. Anyone want to make a motion, or?
Yeah, I want the wording to be right.
Well, the application seeks to have the property use the actual water calculation used rather than typical Title V calculation for a business that is under the overall umbrella of salons and hair care and things like that. They fall under that, but in reality, they don't have that type of water usage. So it would be something along the lines of the board agrees to allow the calculation to be based on use.
The actual use.
Of the business, not presumed calculation based on a hair salon or state Title V salon.
So moved.
I have a motion. Anyone want to second it? I have a motion and a second. Let's do a roll call on this, please.
Dr. Weiler? Dr. Caniff?
No.
Okay. Dr. Guadagnoli?
Yes.
And John Norman?
Yes.
Okay.
And my no is not against these people, it's against the whole process.
Thank you for that. Okay, thank you so much. Have a good day.
Just take a moment to get that all set.
Yep.
So do we have the ability to be the ones that push the landlord to, like it says in the email?
If they, submit a building permit request to remodel,
Okay.
that will trigger Board of Health Department review.
All right.
And then
This
that's
is
when,
definitely their problem, and it's a problem they should be able to fix fairly quickly, I would
Right.
think.
yeah. Yep. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a septic repair deadline. Edward and Susan Souza, owners of 722 Santuit-Newtown Road, Marstons Mills, map parcel 028-048, failed septic. Water shut off, no occupants, requesting septic repair deadline extension until sold. Is anyone here representing Edward or Susan Souza?
No, they said they wouldn't be able to make it due to health issues, but
No
asked
objection.
them to consider it.
Okay, thank you
No
for that.
objection to that.
This is a public hearing. Anyone from the public want to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Staff?
No objection to water shut-off, and therefore there's no sewage being generated.
Thank you for that. Members of the board, comments, questions?
Nope.
I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
I,
Dr. Kenneth? That's 4 in favor. Thank you for that. Next item on the agenda is a food. Paulene Jones, owner of Jones and -974 Craigville Beach Road, Centerville, map parcel 226-006, requesting a toilet facility variance for 1 in lieu of 2. Anyone here representing Pauline Jones?
No objection.
We want to go ahead with that. So this is a public hearing. Anyone from the public want to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Staff said they have no objections. Members of the board, comments or questions?
I'm going to recuse myself because I know the owner, not the business owner, but the property.
Okay, we have a recusal, so we still have quorum with Dr. Weiler, Dr. Guadagnoli, and myself. I would entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to go ahead and approve it. It's just maintaining the status quo, so.
Okay, I have a motion. I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's 3-0 with 1 recusal. Next on the food items is David Flaherty, representing Wayne Hyman, owner of Craigville General Store, 628 Craigville Beach Road, Centerville map, parcel 246-028. In the saltwater estuary protection zone, property is a mixed use with a 2-bedroom unit on the 2nd floor, requesting a variance from Title V to exceed the capacity of the septic system to allow 12 restaurant seats, exceeding the capacity of the design soil absorption system, and toilet facility variances. Been using temporary food permit with anticipation of sewer connection. Sewer now scheduled for fall of 2024. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Dave Flaherty for Mr. Hyman. It's an existing general store. They'd like to expand it to have 12 seats. There's been some changes, though, recently. We thought that we wouldn't get, well, originally when they applied for this last year, they thought they were going to get sewer rather quickly. They never did. So this year, he wanted to put in a couple of really nice high-end porta-johns with hot running water. to accommodate the seating and to mitigate the impact on the septic system until sewering was available, which we were told would be in the fall. However, great news, we just received last week from the health department that the sewer department had notified the health department that that area is ready to be tied in anytime now. So what he would like, he already has a contract with Bortolotti Construction. He'd like to go in, and he said he'd put him at the top of the list. So he'd like to tie in as soon as possible so we can get those seats for the summer. And just to mitigate the impact on the septic system in the meanwhile, he'd like to provide a couple of those high-end porta potties until the sewering is tied in within 2-3 weeks. Or that's my understanding from what he told me. So it's sort of a win-win, good news all around kind of a story. So.
No objection.
Let me get the public first. Jumping in there. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak on this item? Please come forward. Seeing none, I close the public hearing.
Thanks, Tom.
Staff?
No objection.
Thanks, Tom.
Staff has no objection. Members of the board, any comments or questions? The only caveat I have is maybe in 3 months, just check in with the health department, just a letter or something
Update.
showing that it actually was installed.
Sure.
And then we'll, update the file to show that you're
Maybe
free and clear
provide
to
an
do.
as-built.
Yeah, free and clear to do it all.
Okay.
Okay.
Terrific. In the back, I think I showed in the packet, in the back corner, as you're looking at the store to the left. It'd be a short walk out the back door. There'd be electricity there, there's hot water. And again, it's only going to be for a couple, 3 weeks, hopefully no more than that. He'd like to tie in as soon as possible. Yes, sir.
Any other comments, questions?
Move to approve?
I need a second. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. That's unanimous. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Just make a note on that, Sharon, maybe 3 months from now to just have something pop up to say, did they definitely hook up and then we can just clear this variance out.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have them as part of the sewer hook.
Right.
So we'll see that. yeah.
Great, thank you so much. Next item on the agenda, show cause hearing, sewer connection, Stewart's Creek, John O'Neill Sr., 2 Keating Road, Hyannis. This was moved from April. Anyone here representing Mr. O'Neill? Seeing none. What are we doing with these now? Tom, we referring them
Ye-
to legal?
Yeah, the board has an option to issue $200 fine per day or refer to legal for further action. Yeah, didn't he ask you, he was in Florida, he wanted to,
So he was in, yeah, he was in Florida due to illness of the family, grave situation. So I wasn't able to get him, get in contact with him near the, he did receive notice to come to this meeting, but I hadn't heard back from him, so I don't know if they're still in that situation. He did seem eager to do it, but he hasn't done it yet.
So you don't think he's ignoring you?
Well, I'd like to say that, but it.
But you're not sure.
Time with the other, yeah. I mean, he did
Yeah,
seem
it's
to be
been
very
many,
responsive.
many, many years.
but-
Yeah.
Maybe refer it to legal and then maybe give us an update at next month's meeting to see, sometimes if the legal department sends a letter and, warns them of what's to come, then they don't act so surprised.
Did the others from last month go to legal?
I sent them to legal, yes. They're working with the young lady that left the room saying she's out of order. They're working with her, is my understanding, to help her connect to sewer, legal and the plan department. So they are working with clients.
Okay. Also, next item is more show cause hearing, sewer connection, Stewart's Creek. Lisa Loparto, 40 and 44 Nautical Road, Hyannis. Is that anyone here representing that? No? Any update on that?
So I just wanted to make sure the board realizes, so these next groups, as have just recently come up to
Right.
being due.
Yeah, they're not
They're not
too
years'
delinquent,
worth.
they're only in the past year or so.
Yeah, no, I didn't want to move on. I just want to see, if we can continue to follow up on them and maybe just send them a reminder letter that they do, are responsible within 6 months to hook up. Otherwise, they have, just come in and give us a reason why. Contracting, finding contractors, whatever, delay, financial situation, we just need to know. Christopher and Patricia Jeans, 181 and 183 Seabrook Road. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
We got a notice in April saying that we were notified in October, which I didn't receive anything to my home address. I actually had the septic pumped October 20th. We routinely get that done. So once I got the notice in April, I started.
Okay.
So we have contracted with Robert B. Auer. They've already, Chris has been wonderful, but he doesn't think it can be done by the end of May, which is this week.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
So
That's
we're
fine.
talking, September would be so much more better.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We appreciate you coming in and speaking, we want to work with people, we really do. We're not trying to be heavy-handed on this, but, we do just want to get people hooked up so we can start helping those areas. So, I would entertain a motion to continue this for 6 months, and then, Sharon, if you get the notification that it's set up and they're on sewer, then you can take it off the agenda. But if we don't hear from you, 6 months from now, and we don't see that it's hooked up, we'll probably ask you to come in 6 months from now and explain to us why.
Oh, it'll be done, trust me.
Okay.
Great,
I
thank
do.
you.
All righty. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye now, have a good evening.
Thank you for getting the contract.
So we'll continue that
Thanks.
to our meeting 6 months from now, Sharon. But if in the meantime, if you get the notification that they are hooked up, you can remove it. Great, thank you.
Do we need to vote on it? Do we need to vote on it? Okay.
And under requesting sewer connection deadline extension, 6 months. Okay, that was the one we just did. So the next one is Judith Barrett, trustee of 53 Greenwood Avenue, Hyannis. Seeing no one? Anything on that, Sharon?
No, I didn't hear from the others. These three here.
These are all the ones that like just recently got the notifications. These are the ones that were part of Dr. Miller's calculation because they had recently had a new septic win. These are not the ones that have been like waiting years. These are the ones, right, Sharon, that have just recently.
Right, you can see when they became due.
Yeah,
Right.
they
So
just became,
This one,
January.
this one was due 11/30 of '23, so it hadn't even, they're not even over. Yeah. So just a follow-up letter with them, Sharon, saying, you have to show cause as to why you haven't hooked up yet. Otherwise, we will, so continue this to our,
6 months out.
yeah. In the meantime, let staff work on it to get them going. We'll revisit it 6 months from now. Peter and Lisa Hempstead, 67 Fiddler's Circle. Not seeing anyone, same thing, roughly the same time frame. Put them on the agenda 6 months from now. Meanwhile, follow up on another letter explaining that they need to hook up.
Okay.
David Pickrilli, 22 Janice Lane. That one's more recent, it's only
Yeah.
5 months ago, so same thing though, continue to send the letters and let them know they need to hook up. Great. They were due to hook up. Right, because they qualified for that mathematical calculation that was how many years out, depending on how new the septic was, that type of thing from this area. The other ones have been long. And the final agenda items are all just policy, regulations and policies. We can continue this because, a lot of these discussions would center around Tom Lee, who's been spearheading the drafting and discussions on this.
and legal is going to convert those into regulations. They've already done a lot of work on it.
And
The
the only other item was the construction of fences and roofing, proposed amendment change.
And that's ready to go whenever you're ready to go.
Okay, we'll maybe put that on
Okay.
next month's agenda
Okay.
for discussion. And do we have any minutes, Sharon?
No, but are we going to do the stables as the second region? John?
That's up to John. He wants to wait until next month.
Yeah,
Oh, you were saying you wanted the stables next month?
yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant just the first two. Okay.
Yeah, no, the other two will continue to, Tom's still working with DPW and legal to draft the exact wording in the regulation before we actually have public hearings on it. So, but I just didn't want it to get, forgotten, so I just want to keep updating the other. But the other regulation, the horse stable regulation, we're ready to go on that. So let's put that on next month's agenda
Okay.
for actual discussions and vote.
Before you close the meeting out, staff got back to me, 10 Wianno Avenue is in a nitrogen-sensitive area, so 12 seats should not be increasing the sewage flow if it's not allowed. In nitrogen, we have to do, they're limited to 440 gallons per acre. So we'll just, we'll take care of it.
Those are the things when someone comes in with an application.
Right.
Has to be enumerated on our list of variances to look at.
Right,
If all that's before us is distances and setbacks, that's all we're going to discuss. Anything outside of that is a violation of open meeting law, because it's not been posted to discuss estuary protection or calculate, it's only what's before us. So if something comes up to that and you have questions on that, you should be telling them, you need to apply for variances to this, 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 and that.
right.
And then if this, and that is what's before us, then we can discuss it. But what I don't want to do is have distance setbacks on our variance agenda, and then all of a sudden there's a back and forth discussion on bedrooms and bedroom count and saltwater estuary. That's not what's before us.
Right.
It's not what's before us, and quite honestly, if we discuss it and down the road they challenge it in court, a judge is going to look at the town and this board and say, why were you discussing something that wasn't on the agenda? So really, I want to make sure that that's what's before us.
We have.
If there's things you want to discuss, we'll discuss it outside of that, and then go back to them and say, you need to come back to us for this item.
Yeah.
Sorry, we forgot to put it on there. But, they may come in with that application saying, oh, we got approval. It's like, yeah, you got approval for setbacks. You did not get approval for being in the saltwater estuary
Exactly.
with that many gallons.
Right.
We're denying you your permit.
Exactly.
Oh, how can I work that out? You can go before the board with a variance from that, and then we'll have that discussion. Okay?
Sounds good.
Yeah,
So
it'll
much.
be caught at the building permit stage.
Right.
Yeah, right.
If just because a plan says, 158 seats in the restaurant, we're not approving the plan. We're approving the variances that were enumerated before us to discuss.
Correct, that's correct.
Approving variances specifically doesn't give a blanket approval on a plan.
Right, I agree.
Thank you so much. Anyone else want to add? No? I would entertain a motion to adjourn. I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor? We are adjourned.